In this video, we're going to talk about installation and layout. We ended up having to bring the flooring up to some existing tile that was very uneven. We can do this in two different ways. We can use floor leveler, or in this case, we use cedar shake to bring it up to the tile. We will bring it up to the existing surface that's there so we can sand it down and make it plane off later. We have reconfirmed the moisture content of the hardwood flooring and the subfloor at this point to ensure that our moisture levels are within reason. The next step we will have to take is to ensure that we have a straight line for our starter rows. So we will take a chalk line and we will snap a line and make sure that we have even distances across the room. Our next step will be to go through and look at our material that we have to install on the floor. We will pull out as many straight boards as we can. We do this by eyeballing down the board to ensure that we don't have any bows or heavy crowns in the board before we use those for our starter rows. We will then lay the boards all out and cut them to length. The fastening system we're going to use to install our starter row is glue and top nails. We are using a 1/2 inch wide, 2 inch long crown staple. We will also take a finish nailer to nail along the tongue in the same location that we placed a top nail in the flooring. The nailing is one of the very important parts to installation so that there's not squeaking or movement over the floor as it gets older. We will orientate our boards so that the tongue is facing into the open part of the room. This is so we can rack our new flooring up against it. We will do a backfill in this area so that we can have the flooring change directions and have a tongue available to glue to. So we will take some glue, we will insert it along the groove, and then install what we call spline. The spline will allow us to change the direction. It essentially gives us where we have two grooved pieces, we now have two tongued pieces. Our next phase of the flooring would be racking the floor out. Racking the floor out is where we take all of the boards, we cut them to length, and we set them on the floor. We do this for a couple reasons. First reason is it makes us much more efficient while we're nailing. The second reason is we can ensure that we do not have any butt joints lining up on top of each other. We want to make sure there's at least 1 to 2 board widths of space in between each butt joint. We will be keeping all of our wood at least 1/4 inch to 3/4 of an inch away from any bottom plate walls, any tile, or any existing things that are in the house, due to the fact that wood is a hygroscopic material, which means that it will have dimensional change based on moisture content. When we keep this gap in the floor along the edges of the wall to ensure that it doesn't either gap too much or push the walls out over time if moisture is brought into the floor. This is one of those areas where you'll want to follow the manufacturer's specifications in this area to ensure that the floor still stays under warranty. Our nailing schedule on this project is going to be 6 to 8 inches apart, with no more than 2 inches from the end of each board. This concludes our general layout and nailing down of the flooring. See you next time.